people come here for the summer. It's the bleeding desert. People come here for the summer because I'm told it's a dry heat. So it's 110 degrees, but it's a dry heat. Yeah, I'd move here for the summer too. So middle of nowhere. There's no way you'll ever get Jews out here except for on some sort of retreat. But it does feel a bit like Israel and Australia. Anyway, I've had this crap week. I've been sick the whole week. And like last Thursday and Friday, I was feeling good. And then boom, Friday night, I started getting sick. I went to acupuncture 3 times to try to sort myself out this week, get myself ready for this big weekend. So I'm having to deal with a very wily Mark Gaffney and a charismatic, brilliant, devious mind. So I have to be right on top of my game. I have to be very high level, and you have to catch him out. He tries to sneak things past me. So anyway, about a month ago, I read David Klinghoffer's book, How Would God Vote? And he has a chapter in there about healthcare, and he says that in the biblical perspective, the first reaction that you should have to being sick, because I'm sick, like half the time, so I definitely should be thinking about this. First reaction should be not to go to a doctor. The doctors in the Hebrew Bible are only mentioned pejoratively, that means negatively. But the first reaction is you should examine your character to see where you've gone wrong, what sins you've committed. Sounds like a good idea, Luke. What do you think, Mark? Do you think that's a good idea?
I think Luke should start doing that. Examination of character sounds like a good start here. Excellent plan. Have you noticed you've been sick a lot, Luke? Do you know?
Yes. I'm wondering if there's anyone I've treated unfairly.
Do you think there's anyone you may have treated unfairly over any particular period of time, or probably not, right?
I don't know.
Nah, probably not,
Probably not.
But if you do keep getting sick, you may want to kind of check it out,
Yeah, isn't that what you rabbis call Heshbon
Nefesh? Checking out, am I accurate? Am I fair? Am I honest? Am I living in integrity? All those important things. And I love the beard.
Thank you.
The beard to get in the tzitzit.
I've got the look. I may not have the character. I may not have the midot. I may not have the actions.
We're working on the character.
But I got the look. And I think the look is more important than
I'm here with the infamous, charismatic Luke Ford, the Darth Vader of the internet. Does he realize that actually you can't shame people on the internet? It's actually not okay. It's not okay because A, your information is usually wrong, big time. B, in general in Judaism, our basic position is that you have to purvey accurate information, to cite information, to quote information for people without checking its accuracy, right? Especially when the information can be damaging, right, is a huge, terrible, egregious. You like that word, egregious, Luke?
I like it. It's a big word.
Egregious is a big word, yeah. Yeah, kind of not as big as pejorative. It's bigger than pejorative, don't you think? Yeah. It's an egregious violation. And to say something kind of really serious for a second, Luke talked in his previous video about the notion that, well, hey, he told the story of the poop girl. That's the girl in Korea who had not cleaned up the poop of her dog. Someone snapped an internet photo of her, put it on the internet. They then went after her private information, exposed all of her private information, and it turned out to be enormously destructive for her relationships, her family, etc. So Luke's position was, well, she was violating a social norm. Violating a social norm deserves to be punished. And even though Luke recognized that she was punished beyond the measure of her quote-unquote sin, Luke thought that was okay. And what I tried to share with Luke, when he finished doing that post, was that actually violates the most essential Jewish ideas. The most essential Jewish ideas are about the rights of the individual. Right? God gets to play dice with individuals. God gets to decide how to do things beyond what we understand to be fair or not fair. But we as human beings only have a right to deal with human being in the most ethical, just way in terms of that individual. We don't have a right to punish someone, 50 times more than their sin, because we've kind of arbitrarily decided that as a blogger, that will deter other people from not cleaning up the poop of their dog. That's actually not a possibility, right? We have an obligation to ethically protect a person. We don't have a right to take a person's picture when they didn't clean up the poop of their dog and then post it on the internet and try and ruin their lives, because that's completely disproportionate with what they did wrong. And to make that decision that their lives deserve to be ruined for the good of the whole, that's God's decision. Right? The people who took that position, that we can actually ruin the lives of individuals for the good of the whole, that was called communism. Communism made that decision. That was the communist position. We can wipe out a couple of villages. It's going to be for the good of the whole. As Lenin said, break a couple of eggs. That's what you need to do to make an omelet. But that's a complete violation of the biblical ethic, which affirms the dignity, the adequacy, or the infinite worth of every individual. So if the poop girl made a mistake, hey, we should write her a note. We should tell her to do it better. But we actually don't have the right to shame her on the internet and to attempt to destroy her life and that of her family, because we've decided that we're going to punish her for the sake of the larger social norm. To arrogate that right is arrogant. It's an arrogance that only the divine has the right to do, and the result of arrogating that kind of right is the greatest evil of the 20th century, right? The people who claimed that position, which was communism.
Mark, I am God's helper. I deliver divine karma.
Now here we go. Now this is the Luke, I am God's helper position. This is why you're getting sick so often, Luke. Remember that character issue. Hello, this is your rabbi trying to help you look inside and do cheshbon hanefesh.
Rabbi, what do you think? Do you think is that what the Bible says? When you get sick, you should examine your life to see where you might have done wrong? Actually,
when you get sick, you should do two things. First is you should go to the doctor, right? Merapo yirapeh, right? It says Nachmanides is a positive commandment. You shall surely heal and you shall be healed. So we of course deploy all methods of healing at our disposal, which include going to the doctor and include doing the inner work to try and find within my character what's the source of that sickness. We have to be very careful with that, though, because if we attribute sickness to some internal character defect, it gets all too easy, right, to blame the cancer victim for their cancer.
You can only do it to yourself. You can't say, Mark's got a cold because, he
That's a great distinction. No, that's
you
actually
can only do it to yourself.
That's actually a great distinction. That is to say that we have a right to kind of look at our own internal mess-ups and say, how's that making us? We have to be very careful not to do it to someone else. So that's a beautiful distinction. So look, good Shabbos, good Shabbos. We're almost where we're going at our Shabbos destination. And isn't it beautiful?
Oh, it's gorgeous here.
Completely gorgeous.
Wow, God is in trees, right?
God is in trees. God is in trees. We like Dennis Prager, but in his article, God is not in trees, he was a little off on that one. God is beyond trees and in trees.
You're a pantheist?
I am just a simple guy, but if you want to give it a term, it's called a panentheist. That is to say that God is both within nature and beyond nature. That was Rabbi Cook's position. But how beautiful.
Wow.
Good Shabbos, good Shabbos. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos. Good Shabbos.
How did you learn to sing on tune?
I really, unfortunately, don't sing on tune as well as I would like to. In my family, actually, everybody sang really well except for me. So when they sang the Shabbos songs, they would ask me not to ruin the harmony. But at some point, I decided I love singing so much. And I love singing especially songs to people and songs to God. But I just, gave it up and just kept singing. However it comes out, it comes out. So good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos, good Shabbos. Try it with me. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos. Come on, Luke.
Good Shabbos,
good Shabbos. Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos. Good Shabbos, Reb Levi.
Shabbos, Rabbi.